is Homelink 9.3, Multiplication Number Stories for Grade 3 Everyday Math. Your child's class is beginning to solve multi-digit multiplication and division problems. Although we've practiced multiplication and division with multiples of 10, we've been doing most of our calculating mentally, which means in our head. Encourage your child to explain a solution strategy for each of the problems below. Number 1. How many 30-pound raccoons would weigh about as much as a 210-pound harp seal? So basically we want to know how many of these raccoons will equal this 210-pound seal. And so I'm going to think, how many times does 30 go into 210? I'm going to make it even easier for myself and take a 0 off here and a 0 off here. How many times does 3 go into 21? 7. So the answer is about 7 raccoons. Number 2. How much would an alligator weigh if it weighed 10 times as much as a 50-pound sea otter? Well, you have one little 50-pound sea otter, then you have a huge alligator that's 10 times as big. That's going to be 50 times 10, which is about 500 pounds. 500 pounds. Alright, number 3. How many 20-pound Arctic foxes would weigh about as much as a 2,000-pound beluga whale? Well, I have to think, how many times can 20 go into 2,000, or how many times do I have to multiply 20 to get 2,000? Well, if I multiply it by 10, put a 0 in there, I get 200. Still need more. Multiply it by another 10, that's 100. So I'm going to have 2,000 if I do that. So what I want to know is how many 20-pound Arctic foxes would weigh about as much as a 2,000-pound beluga whale. Well, if I multiply it by 10, I get 200. If I multiply it by 100, I get 2,000. So about 100. I would need about 100 Arctic foxes to be as much as a beluga whale. All right, it would be 20 times 100. So you can kind of see how that works. Number 4. And I'll circle those answers so they're easier to see. Each porcupine weighs 30 pounds. A black bear weighs as much as 20 porcupines. How much does the black bear weigh? So this time I have to take 30 and I have to multiply it by 20, okay? Because I have 20 porcupines that are 30 pounds each. That's 3 times 2 is 6. Just add those zeros on the end. So the bear weighs about 600 pounds. That's a big bear. Number 5. A bottlenose dolphin could weigh twice as much as a 200-pound common dolphin. How much could the bottlenose dolphin weigh? Well, if the bottlenose dolphin could weigh twice as much, then I have to take 200 and I have to make that twice as much to see. So 200 two times, or twice as much, is going to be 400. Could weigh about 400 pounds. Alright. And now here's a try this, which means it's a little bit more tricky, but I think you guys can do it. So how many 2,000-pound beluga whales would weigh as much as one 120,000-pound right whale? So you have to think of it this way. How many times does 2,000 go into 120,000? And let's use the trick that I showed you. Just take those zeros off when you're trying to figure out how many goes into what. Take them off one at a time so you don't get confused. Okay, I'm out of zeros here, so I can't take any more off. Now I just am asking myself, how many times does 2 go into 120? Okay, or how many times does 2 go into 12, and then add this last 0 on? 2 goes into 120 60 times. So about 60 beluga whales. Right, I would need about 60 beluga whales that were 2,000 pounds to go into this 120,000 pound right whale. Okay, so this is Homelink 9.3, Multiplication Number Stories for Grade 3 Everyday Math.